Welcome to e-Pathashala. We are going to learn more about Tata Consultancy Services project at Siruseri, which is almost around 30 kilometers from Chennai. But these buildings, what are come up in this particular area, are signature buildings. So you won't see this kind of building anywhere in India. With such a high input, such a huge scale of the project, it was initially even for me to design, to execute as a challenge. Even the laborers who I took them to the site will see the building, will see the scale of the site and run away. They will not be coming for the next day. So you had a lot of challenge in this particular project. And the choice of plant material, water, non-availability of water initially. And then you had a lot of local problems, soil depth was a problem. The entire thing, the phase one, the entire thing was designed on a podium. So the concrete is below, you have a topsoil of only 15 inches or 18 inches, or some places it is only 6 inches. So your choice of plant material has to be in such a way that it take care of all the requirements need to be done. So you can go through in detail the different plant material used and different usages happen, and then learn from this the good landscaping how to do. More than that, how visually it is appealing. That is more important. The design is not just talking about designing, but you have to see it visually. There are photographs provided in the project where you can see when it is completed how does it look. Whenever you do planting, you have to think in terms of fourth dimension, that is time. How it grows day after tomorrow. That is more important whenever you do a planting design. Whenever you plant anything down, you have to look up to see whether that fellow can go up, and without any problem it can spread these wings. Okay, you can learn from this project.
Okay, the planting plan of this particular project is what we are going to talk about it today. The site is located in Siruseri, which is a IT hub of Chennai. Site is surrounded by IT buildings. Prominent IT companies like Cognizant, Wipro, Axware Technologies, Intel are located close by. The building and the landscape should keep us the international standard. The soil is a clayey soil, so there is a lot of water stagnation after a heavy rain. See, these are the input we have to take when we are designing the planting plan for such a large IT campus. And moreover, the existing present soil is not suitable for anything. So you have to have a new soil coming up here. And with such a huge building area, how are you going to do the landscaping? Which is very important while doing the landscaping. Normally, these big campuses, particularly this building is a signature building designed by Carlos from South America, wherein we have been employed as a local landscape architectural consultant for this project. Here, we have to match our design, everything to the building. So usually we have taken the concept, there are 3-4 entrances are there because it's a huge campus with 25,000 people working there. You have different parking requirement, different entry requirement, plus you need to have a security for everything. So while doing the landscape, you also need to have the wow effect like the building. So how are you going to create that is a major challenge for us, in this particular project. The main entrance has to be designed in such a way that it is inviting you and appealing. Any visitor who comes inside has to feel the grandness of this particular building, so the landscape also need to be grand. Generally, because the tall structure which has come up, we also need to match it with the tall palm trees, and we may not be able to do a foliage tree because this will mar the elevation of the building. So we have to match it, and there are a lot of columnar structures along the building, so to match them we will do the columnar planting like palms, colorful foliage are recommended at the main entrance to do a grand and rich outlook. Then we are talking about entrance number 1. We are talking about control booth number 3. So these are all different areas we are in, we need to do a proper landscape. You can see the line of trees provided along the road, which will provide you shade for the walkway. You provided some palms along the building, which will highlight it, building view. Planting concept need to be evolved. How are you going to do that? Basically, we have to know about what is the quality of soil, quality of water, plus your sun angle, then shadow area, then how is your rainwater disposal. The plants proposed for landscaping are plants that suited and grow well in the clay soil. It may not be a very good this thing because the entire soil need to be changed. So you have an imported soil. So the plant requirement can be exotic also, but we have to take it into consideration what is water available for this. So overall site has been raised in order to avoid the waterlogging in the site. And most of the tree pits what we plan is 2 meter by 2 meters, so that the entire clay soil is replaced by well drained soil and built around the tree so that the tree grows to its maximum size. Plus there are very important locations, like we have a central spine which looks like a river. This is one of the very important feature of this particular building, wherein entire 20,000 people come here to change over to different buildings, to go to the canteens, to eat food. These are all different things. There are buildings, you have a breakaway spaces, a breathing spaces between the engineering buildings. The central spine is there. The river concept is brought to its a linear structure. The length, if you look at it, it's almost like 500, 700 meters length, that entire central spine. So how are you doing? The exact measurement can be looked upon at a later date, but approximately even you can take it up to 1 kilometer length. Pockets of water body designed which gives an island look. Planting with slender leaves like raffles, Kentiarica palms are used throughout the stretch. We will also show you the photograph of this particular building, wherein you can see a lot of columns are there. So in order to match the columns, we have used more of a palms rather than a shady trees inside this central spine. Moreover, sunlight coming inside are very less, but you will have plenty of lighting available. And it also created a tunnel. You have a lot of wind blowing happening. So the evaporation loss for the planting will be very high. So how are you going to match all those things are a challenge for you while designing the planting. So you can see the overall length of the water body. This is the cross section of the building, how you have planned for everything. I am trying to categorize the planting in 3 stories. One is upper story, which is a larger trees. Middle story is a medium sized tree. Lower story is a shrub and other thing. So we will talk about upper story. The type of plants which we are using here is Acacia auriculiformis. There is a dense foliage with an open spreading crown. The trunk is crooked and bark vertically fissured. Roots are shallow and spreading, and it grows to a height of 15 meters. It's an evergreen tree. The apparent leaves are actually modified midrib called polydor. It gives you a yellow color flowering. It's a very hardy tree. So this is one of the tree that can be used in this particular campus. Then we have this Alistonia scholaris. It's a glabrous tree and grows up to 40-meter height. So mature tree will go up to 40-meter tall, but it is quite high. But these are all trees need to be planted on the sides of the tree. The trees are a little bit glossy. One advantage about the glossy leaves is these huge campuses produces lot of dust. So because of the glossy leaf, dust may not be able to settle down on the leaf and spoil the photosynthesis process of the trees. So glossy leaf trees are better in the open area where you have lot of dust pollution. Plus this also on the rain, it washes away all the dust whatever accumulated in other places. So this is one of the very important trees in this particular region. Then Begonia megapotomic, it's a medium sized tree. This is also an evergreen tree going up to height of 10 meters. And you have a mauve color flower. It's a quick growing tree. And with the humid climate of Chennai, this does very well here. So we'll talk about the next tree. Casuarina equistifolia. This is normally used in bunches to act as a shelter belt, or you call it a windbreaker, or you call it a filter, whatever you can call. This is one of the very interesting tree on the shoreline of Chennai. This will act as a very good windbreaker and then prevent the dust entering the campus. Lot of good qualities about the tree. But this tree normally lives up to 10-15 years. After that, the bark grows darker, leaf will come down. But with all the other things, this is one a very good tree to be used here. Up to 40 years, this will not have any problem. Eucalyptus, again, we have lot of waterlogging is taking place, so this is one of the very interesting trees to be planted. Ficus bengalensis, you all know it's a large tree. It's a large, huge campus coming up here. Requires some kind of a bird attraction. You are literally killing the avifana of this area. So in order to bring back the birds, other thing, this is one of the very important trees need to be planted. Even though it grows very big, it can be one of the very interesting features in the campus. Ficus religiosa, it's also called as people tree. I have given you all the other details in the write-up, you can read it. But very interesting tree, it supposed to produce a lot of oxygen. Felicium decipens, it's a fern leaf tree, evergreen, beautiful evergreen tree. And if you look at the tree itself, you feel so happy, it's so green, It's such a nice tree to be there with you. You can read it. Legostromia speciosa. The other name, very common name for this is Pride of India. This particular tree is called as Pride of India, and the blooming season is beautiful. It's a medium-sized tree, and the flowers are so attractive during the season. You can read the rest of the things. Mimosa phalangi, Maguda maram we call it in Tamil. It's a highly fragrant tree and a slow growing tree. But we have to have the patience for it to grow over a period of time. This tree which is shown in the photograph will be roughly 25 years old tree. We have to mismatch the slow growing tree, fast growing tree and then medium sized growing tree in such a way. Ultimately all the slow growing tree will be there forever after 20 years. Till then, you can mismatch it with all the fast growing tree, other thing, in order to get the effect of landscaping, you can do that. So what has been done in Delhi road landscaping, they have used a slow growing tree in a proper spacing and fast growing tree in between, and fast growing trees now died and slow growing trees have taken over. That is what it should be. The landscaping should always think about day after tomorrow. It's more important. Peltophorum acerifolium is a very good tree again. This is a very good tree which takes care of a lot of dust pollution and then air pollution like sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide. All these gases will be absorbed by this tree. And during flowering, it gives you excellent and fragrant flowers appear between December and February. Rest of the thing you can read it from what I have written. Samanya Samanya, common tree means rain tree. Because of the huge scale of the tree and the amount of evaporation takes place, you always feel there's a droplets of rain coming from under the tree. That's why it's called as rain tree. Rest of the thing you can read it from the notes what I have written. But little bit fragile tree, we have to be careful in using this particular tree because of the size of this particular tree. You need to have so much of space on both the sides wherever you are going to plant it. 25 meters on both the sides. If you have, then only it's advisable to plant. Grevillea robusta, silver oak tree, very nice tree in this particular climate. It's also a tall columnar tree. How to use them, you know very well. You can read everything, whatever written there. Spathodia, very good in the shoreline area where this particular tree is very famous in Chennai. You can read that, very good, this flowering will happen. Terminalia Arjuna. This is a very good tree to be used for wood purposes. Next, Thebubia argentea. This kind of color only will happen in Bangalore and climate like that. Otherwise in Chennai you don't get this kind of flowering. It's a slow growing but little bit of crooked in shape. Even though flowering is so beautiful, you may not be able to see it in a shoreline like Chennai. Other places it does very well. Bangalore or Delhi, maybe it does very well. Thebubia rosea is another tall tree which grows very well in most of the Indian climates with the mauve color flowers. You can read the rest from the thing. But one thing you all have to remember whenever you do the planting plan or doing a planting on the roads, the spacing between each and every tree. Normally when I tell you about the height, of 20 meters if I say, then your spacing should be the crown of this particular tree and that crown of the next tree should touch each other. Then only you will have the formation, avenue formation will happen. So in that level, if you do the planting, you have to plant Thebubia rosea. If you take it, you have to do it at 8 meter spacing. Whereas if you take Peltophorum or neem tree or any other larger trees, then your spacing can go up to 10 meters. That is the standard you have to take it, so that any one dies or anything happen in between, this will take over other trees. Not only dying, but then only you will have the proper crowning, and it will also act as a very good windbreaker, because in our climate any cyclone or anything happening, your trees are to be protected in or constructed or grown in a structural stability, which is very, very important. Any one branch is cut or anything happened, then the structural stability of the tree is gone. So it will fall down and it create a lot of nuisance value for you. So whenever you are growing a tree, at least for the first 6-7 years, you have to prune it in such a way that it attains a proper shape, number one. Aftercare of the tree is also always important. Even at the age of 25-30, dry branches need to be removed. Then structural stability, balancing of the tree is very, very important. Anything happen during wind, heavy wind, these trees need to be protected. That is very important, we have to take care of it. Now we will talk about middle story. We will talk about Bahunia purpurea, very good fragrant tree. Bahunia, we call it in Tamil Mandarai. That leaves have been pinned up together and we used to have food in that. Our parcel food will be made out of these particular leaf plates. One more advice I tell you, all of you people who are listening to me, that you particularly have to go and see the tree, each tree. Try and remove one or two leaf from that and try and remove the flowers from that. See what is the fragrance, see what is the tree leaf about. Then you will never forget it in your lifetime. Otherwise, just for the namesake, you can read, you can go through everything. Until unless you see it in reality, nothing will remember. Nothing will be remembered by you. That is very important. If you remember only, you will know the good qualities of every tree or shrubs which you are using. Calestreman, very good bottle brush, very good red color flowering, drooping plants. It's all small tree, so you can use it in a smaller walkways. You also have a smaller crown height. And we are talking about trees, the crown height is very important. When you are going to plant a tree on an avenue where normal traffic is 5 meters and above, you have to have a crown clearance. So your tree has to be pruned in such a way that traffic or anything is not hazardous for any vehicle movement underneath it. If you are going for a pedestrian, then you should have a minimum 2 meters clearance. Then only people can walk underneath it properly. So we have discussed earlier different forms of trees. So you have to go through that and then take a decision what kind of form is required in this particular situation. Bougainvillea, fantastic coloring plants. Use it as a railing, along the railing. Normal life of a bougainvillea also has to be taken into consideration. Normally it lives to the period of 8 to 10 years. By then your bark will become very big and it may not be of great use to you. So whatever trails or anything you put it on your trellis or anything regarding bougainvillea, you have to take care that the life of the plant. Caesalpinia pulcherrima, fantastic coloring plant. Until unless it grows on the ground and produce the color, you will not know which color it is. That's one of the very big advantage about that particular tree. You may not get an even color, you will get a rash of colors. Caliandra, it's also a very good shrub. Large shrub we call it. Cassia fistula, Indian laburnum, golden shower. In Kerala, this is a very important tree for their new year, Vishu. Even there are better examples of this particular tree all over India. Cassia javanica. Cardia subastrina. Dust prone. This leaf is more of a sandpaper kind of thing. So what you can think of using it? It's a small tree. Smaller roads or other places you can use them. Erythrina indica, the real what you call flame of the forest. Normally people call gulmogar or Deinonychus regia as a flame of the forest. This is the real flame of the forest. Very good plant with a good fragrance, food flowers, and a little bit crooked in shape, a little bit thorny, but nice flowers. It flowers very well in the forest area. May not be able to train it in our climate, but I am talking to you in general what are the trees that can be used in this area. Hibiscus, we call it Sembarati in Tamil, a very good medicinal value. Even you can use the red flowers, grind it with the leaf, use it as a shampoo. So it got a lot of value for this. Only problem with this particular tree is you have a lot of pest problem will be there. So how to arrest the pest problem is one of the very interesting tip you have to get from a horticulturist. Legostromia, you have this Legostromia species are there. You have different varieties of many hurt is there, variegated is there, green leaves are available. And the root bottom of this particular plant is a eatable one, very good to eat, but a very good colorful foliage plant. Musanda is also a very good flowering plant. Nerium oleander. Pisonia alba does more very well only in Chennai climate. Saraka indica, the real Ashoka tree this is a real Ashoka tree. Or in their mythology says Sita was sitting underneath in Sri Lanka. Talk about lower story. There are plants which can be used in the lower stories. Alamandas. Bahonia. Cleodendron thompsoni, it's a creeper, can be used as a ground cover also. Cupia, colorful ground cover. Euphorbia milli, again thorny flowering bush. Delphimia, low level shrubs, nice shrub with good flowering. Gardenia jasminida, the name jasmine itself will give you a very good fragrance here. Hemilia patens is another hedge planting with good flowering. Hererium corydontum. It's a lily family. Ixoras, very famous Ixoras. Dwarf is there, large one is there. Very good plant. Exoras, larger exoras, different colors, jasmine, very famous for Indian flowering plants. Malpighias, lantana. You should not use much of a lantana in industrial areas and other places. This has to be grown on a wild area where you don't really access to them, because it's a wild plant, wild growing plant. Morea is a very good hedge planting. Pandanus, pentas. Again, these are a little bit sensitive plants. You have to have a morning sunlight only for these plants. Then only it will do the flowering and other thing. Evening, full day sunlight, it will scorch the plant. So we have to choose the location in such a way you use them only in the morning sunlight areas. Plumbago, very good flowering plant. Royalia, pentas, again different flowering. You need to have color in landscaping. These smaller shrubs are used mainly to give color in the landscape. Rosalia, very good coloring plant. Circeria folida, again a flowering plant. Tradescantia zebrina, colorful foliage plant. See, we are talking about flowering plants. This foliage also add color to the landscaping. You have a purple and white lines are growing here. So you are getting a very good colorful foliage plants. We are talking about specimen plants. Plumeria, looks like a sculpture plant. Call it a temple tree, frangipani. All those names are there for this particular plant. You have local variety, hybrid variety. What I have shown you is a local variety, which is always good. Hybrid variety attracts a lot of pests and it's very difficult to maintain. Plumeria variety, again red color. That was earlier white, this is red. Palms. There are so many number of palms are available. So to use the different palms in different location will really give you a very good character for the landscaping. Date palms, royal palms, then planting plan. Now we are talking about plants and other thing. In the next class we will talk in detail about how the planting has taken place on the overall planning.
Conclusion is actually, the challenges we face, the time frame we face, and the construction is happening, greenery also happens simultaneously. Construction debris will fall on the greenery. Greenery debris cannot fall on the construction. These are all the problems we had. And one more very, very biggest challenge we had in this particular project was usage of treated water, sewage treated water. These people said we are giving you treated water. So we thought, it's good treated water. and nobody tastes the treated water to know what quality of water it is. Ultimately, nothing is growing, and people are cursing us, people are saying wrong, you don't know what you are doing, everything. Finally, we have to call one Dr. Samanthamurthy. He is a very good specialist in horticulture, Dean of Horticultural University in Coimbatore. He said, we will test the soil. He said, we will test the water. Once we test the water and soil, we found out it's only salt. Damn it, they are cheating us. So we have to fight back with them saying that you have provided me only salt water. You have not given me any treated water, untreated water. Then they understood. They have given us a bad water. And nobody knows because nobody can taste it. The report always says a different figure and then in reality it is different. So then we have to find with them, change the soil on the top level, change the water on the top level, then use the new plants and then make it to grow. So this was the biggest challenge for us. Thank you.